Hello, this is Season 1 of the Manifold TCG Promotional League. We are in the round of 16, Group 3, and they have been just absolutely excellent games, and this is the Survivor match. I do not weep because it is over. I smile because I was here to see it. I am Brad. With me here, as always, is Adam. Adam, what do we got?
So, Kayden and Steven here are playing the last game that matters for them. One of them is going on to the round of 8. One of them is eliminated from the MPL. And Steven is one of the favorites to win the entire promotional league. So let's talk about his deck. Steven's playing a Rylo EM-Urgent attachment aggro deck, where EM-Urgent gives Steven speed and Rylo gives him consistency. This deck makes a ton of damage, because Chain Plasma Rifle and Overcharge and various things just are damage. Rylo is a pile of damage. And yeah, it goes really fast.
And this deck, or these heroes, were very common in the preseason PAOs. But Steven's doing something quite a bit different with it. He's taken away quite a bit of the aggression. You know, he still is playing Chain Plasma Rifles and Overcharges, but he's not on Spotter Scopes, he's not on Ambushes. Instead, he's playing Energy Retracers, Continued Trainings, and quite a bit more removal.
Daring Saboteur.
Daring Saboteur. And so I believe that Steven's position is his attachments can't really trade down because he's going to get at least one use out of them. His heroes are already going to be outputting a bunch of damage. So if he can keep his opponent down, he's going to be able to do steady damage and end the game in round 4 despite spending his time reacting.
Yeah, that's a very cool take on this deck. So Steven's is one of the favorites, sure. Who's the challenger?
Kayden. Kayden is here on Starlet and Djoln. So he is going to be drawing a ton of cards. He is going to be filling his discard with events, and then he's going to be taking advantage of a handful of cards that really reward you for having cards in hand or events in your discard, specifically Ignis Vituous, Horizon Walker, and Subdued Procession.
Yeah, and Kayden usually ends his games with a series of Witchfires, Crackles, Haunting Winds, just a bunch of burn. Something to note about this is Kayden's probably going to be pressured into killing Rylo early, and Crackle doesn't hit EM-Urgent. So maybe that matters. I guess we'll see.
And historically, you've seen Kayden start every game as a control deck and end every game as a burn deck.
Yeah.
And he spends his whole game using his heroes to sculpt his hand in order to have exactly the events that he needs in order to end the game. But he's going to have a little bit of an unusual game here, not just because Crackle doesn't hit EM-Urgent if he's the last one standing, but also all his removal is a little bad against the attachments that Steven is bringing to bear because EM-Urgent is giving you the free activation.
Yeah.
Which means Kayden's going to have to cobble together an aggressive plan right out of the gates.
And we'll see if he can do that.
All right, our players are down to the table. They are rolling to see who's going to go first. I want to take an opportunity here, though, to ask you, if you're liking this content, please like this content. I know I say this every time, and you're still not doing it, but just, minimize your screen, find that little thumbs up button, give us the little carrot that we need so that we're excited to keep going and so more people can find this content. All right, it looks like Kayden is going first, and he's starting by activating Starlet.
Yeah. Sure.
He starts every game by activating Djoln, so something's different.
I suppose something is different. Maybe he wants to roll those extra blue dice now. Either way, he's not going to use Starlet's trigger because Sabotage, Damage, and Modify is a perfectly reasonable roll. On the other side, Steven is going to start by activating Rylo, taking advantage of Rylo's ability to take 1 damage, to modify to damage, and that's 6 damage.
And it's 6 damage. No gems, 1 action. Mm-hmm. Luckily, Kayden has the Sabotage to prevent the start of it.
And so, okay. Steven, after losing a dice to Sabotage, will play a Battle Ready. Or maybe he won't. Maybe he won't play Battle Ready. Okay.
Neat. A Battle Ready looks good to me, so I wonder what it is. Yeah, okay.
Battle Ready it is. Okay. So Steven's going to play Battle Ready on EM-Urgent, using EM-Urgent's trigger to activate himself and roll all those dice, and then get a Modify 2.
Ooh, and that was a really bad roll. So this Modify 2 is pretty important to bail him out.
Yeah, so his energy abilities aren't very good in this deck. One of them swiftly activates a character, but that's not really a problem Steven doesn't have the ability to do. The other one picks up cards in his discard, and that's not where we're at.
Yeah, it picks up attachments in his discard specifically. And there is a world in which Kayden destroys this battle ready with a Sever the Ties, and then Steven opts to pick it back up. So it doesn't do nothing.
Yeah. It looks like Steven's going to keep that purple energy around, though, and modify one of the black dice into damage.
Yeah, there aren't any shields. So my impulse would be, that Steven thinks he's going to be resolving this into a shield. But that's not...
My impulse is that he's got one yellow gem and he probably has a sleight of hand.
Yeah, okay. That makes plenty of sense.
Although that doesn't actually change anything, right? If he had modified into 2 damage before and then used sleight of hand to modify 1, it doesn't end up...
Yeah. But it explains why he didn't immediately go for...
Yeah.
His sleight of hand could be modifying into mental damage at the end of the round to try to avoid playing into a Protection of Belief.
Yes.
I don't think there are Protection of Beliefs in Kayden's deck.
And I don't even know if Steven has a sleight of hand in his hand, so I guess we'll see.
Okay, so instead, Kayden drew 2 and discarded 2 off of this Djoln. He looked like he was going to discard Haunting Winds, but I missed if that's what actually is down there. One of them is an Engulfing Stone.
Yeah, I think that was a Haunting Winds underneath the Engulfing Stone. So... we're back to Kayden, and Kayden's going to play Rumble of the Grotto. So matching the battle ready instead of removing it.
Yeah, and Rumble of the Grotto is potentially better stats. It's hard to tell how good Modify is, because Modify is only good if you have blank dice. Whereas Rumble the Grotto's shield is always going to be valuable. And in particular, the tempo in this matchup is very helpful for Kayden.
Yes. So Steven will play that sleight of hand, sabotaging 2 damage and modifying into damage himself. And this timing looks like it's going to work out nicely for Kayden, because now he can use that Rumble to shield Starlet.
Yeah, and
there we go.
Steven had the opportunity to keep the black dice in his pool when he opted to resolve all the damage, but he didn't know that a shield was coming.
Yeah. So the shield will go on Starlet here, and Steven will deal 2 damage to Djoln.
Yeah, which is real neat. Steven opts to not trade down into the shield, but instead to end up with the less favorable breakpoint.
Yeah.
Oh, and Kayden put the damage counter on the Rumble of the Grotto, but I have to imagine he'll repair that shortly.
I would imagine. So Kayden's got to modify 3 here, and he's probably modifying into 5 damage. Yeah, there we go. Modifying to 5 damage. Steven will almost assuredly dig in. Yep, dig in on Rylo.
And so Kayden can take off Rylo's shield and deal 4, or he could just deal 5 to the EM-Urgent.
Looks like he's going to go for Rylo first.
Neat. I like how both players prioritized the Rylo. Steven prioritized protecting him. Kayden prioritized defeating him. When that wasn't my read at all. My read was that both players should be prioritizing the EM-Urgent.
Interesting. Well, this is where they're at.
Yeah, and then, they're in the round of 16. They're certainly playing well.
Yes. Okay, so Steven's got the first play here in round 2. Steven has done quite a bit more damage than Kayden, but Kayden, I don't know. Rumble of the Grotto might be better than Battle Ready by a hair, maybe.
And we've said this time and time again. The breakpoint is so very important, especially against these attachment decks. If we find ourselves in a situation where Starlet is defeated and Rylo lives, advantage Steven. If we find ourselves in a situation where Rylo is defeated and Starlet lives, huge advantage to Kayden. And if both are defeated or both live, completely fair fight.
So Steven's going to start with a Chain Plasma Rifle here, activating EM-Urgent using his own ability, and rolls all of his dice -2 into damage, and then uses Battle Ready's trigger to modify those last 2 into damage. And
that is 10 damage showing.
Yup.
And Rylo's going to do another, 3 to 6.
Yeah. Wow. Steven made so many dice, so much damage right now. Kayden is going to respond with a Search the Waste. All right. So that'll discard the top 3 cards of each player's deck. And then Kayden will be able to pick up a card in his discard, and we'll see what he chooses. But this
is not gas.
It's... Search the Waste is a very good card if both players are spinning their wheels. It's not great when your opponent is about to punch you for 10 damage.
And it can be fine if you're getting back, Change the Tides or things that are going to protect you.
Oh,
Kayden opted to get back a Crackle, which means he's going to try to trade with Rylo this round.
Yep. On Steven's side, Steven's going to play Hidden Blade.
Oh, no.
Hidden Blade will arrive and take off Starlet's shield. It's swift, and it will activate Rylo using EM-Urgent's trigger, which means Steven just rolled 2 damage there and will get to modify into more. Steven's going to just kill Starlet.
Starlet gets defeated at the top of round 2 without being activated.
That's a nightmare.
Kayden is only going to make 4 dice in round 2.
Yep. Wow.
Wow.
That Hidden Blade was incredible for Steven. You mentioned that he's only playing 2. And it's really good when it's very good, like here.
Yeah, and so Kayden needs... No, there's no way to make these numbers add up to 11. If all of his dice were showing 2 damage, except the black dice was showing 1, that's 7. The Crackle makes 8, 9, 10.
Yeah. So
The
Rylo's
Subdued Procession
could roll 4 damage.
could roll 4 damage, but then still cannot defeat Rylo through a single shield.
Wow.
But I think Subdued Procession has to be where you're at. You just need more possibilities.
Sure. I think that, yeah, that might be true. That might be true. So either way, Kayden's going to need to focus down Rylo as much as humanly possible, and Steven's probably okay to just resolve the rest of his dice. He's got a shield, a modify, and a blank. He'll probably shield Rylo just with that dice in his pool. And be okay with that.
Yeah, that seems likely. And then he'll pass until he gets the opportunity to dig in onto him. And we're talking about what Kayden could accomplish if his dice were behaving. And they're currently not. They're currently not showing symbols that he really wants to resolve.
Oh, you know what? Kayden has a Witchfire in hand. So Witchfire plus Crackle is that guaranteed 4 damage.
Oh, okay.
Whereas Subdued Procession could roll 4 and then up to 1 more with the Witchfire.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I would say it's not very likely, but I think that Kayden has to go for that.
Yeah. So Steven's going to shield Rylo here. Kayden will activate Subdued Procession and not roll damage, unfortunately.
Such a far cry from how his dice performed against Sean.
Steven will modify into damage, and Kayden will resolve shield 2. Steven will take off that shield and is moments away from digging in. And we'll see what Kayden does with the rest of these dice.
Looks like Kayden is resolving a modify 1.
To make 2 damage, Steven will dig in. Kayden will take off...
No, the damage goes to EM-Urgent.
2 damage to EM-Urgent. Okay.
And then you probably fire off the Witchfire because you need the gem efficiency. You might want it in your discard later for an Ignis Fatuous.
Yeah.
Steven digs in onto the Battle Ready.
Wow. That's a sign of Steven feeling his lead.
Yeah. He does not need to protect his life total with those shields.
Ooh, that's a little bit disheartening to see if you're Kayden, isn't it?
Honestly, you're probably grateful if you're Kayden.
Yeah, sure.
Like disheartening, sure. But spending your time attacking Steven's support objects is never going to catch you up.
Sure. Witchfire here will take off Rylo's shield, and no tactical rerolls. We'll just go on to the next round.
Yeah, once Kayden resolved the modify, it seemed unlikely that he was going to be rerolling aggressively.
Yep. So here we are at the start of round 3. Kayden has lost Starlet and has taken 4 damage on Djoln. Steven is sitting at a pretty healthy double-digit health for both of his heroes.
And this is where the PAO versions of Steven's deck could just ambush EM-Urgent, modify into an energy, swiftly activate Rylo, and the game right now.
Right.
And Steven has much fewer of those tools in this deck.
Yeah.
So he will give Kayden the opportunity to activate Rumble of the Grotto, activate Djoln.
Yep. Steven will start by activating Rylo, modifying into damage. And he did roll energy, so he would be able to swiftly activate EM-Urgent in a moment.
Yeah, and that'll be real powerful when he does it.
Yeah. Kayden's going to start by activating Rumble of the Grotto, shielding Djoln, and rolling 2 modifying to damage. Not bad.
Yeah, those dice are working out for him much better than they did last round.
Yes. Agreed.
Kayden needs to survive this round. And I know how that sounds. You want to survive every round. But what I mean is, it's going to be hard for Kayden to survive this round, and Kayden can't win this round.
If Kayden can defeat Rylo and not lose,
Yeah.
then there's a world.
Exactly. And Kayden has changed the tides and haunting winds. If he can make it so he only needs to do 10 damage next round, that's a game that he can win.
Yep. Steven's going to play Continue Training here, putting a black counter on EM-Urgent, and Kayden will respond by landsliding the Chain Plasma Rifle. So this will take 2 red dice off of Steven's board and discard the top 3 cards of each player's deck.
And it doesn't feel great because you spent 4 gems to kill a thing that costs 3 gems, but this is putting energy towards that, don't die this round.
Yeah.
Step 1.
It is.
And then if you can figure out how to defeat Rylo step 2, then that's the game you're trying to win.
Man, this Crackle can't hit the Battle Ready because the Battle Ready was dug in on. That mattered.
Yep.
Otherwise, he probably would have done that. Kayden will just activate Subdued Procession and roll 4 damage, which is good.
Oh, Steven opts not to swiftly activate EM-Urgent. Instead opts to pick the Battle Ready up from his discard.
Battle Ready? Well, we don't...
Oh, was it the Chain Plasma Rifle?
I think it was the Chain Plasma Rifle.
Yeah, okay.
Maybe it was something else.
Yeah, it could have been a Battle Ready from a landslide, but you're right, I don't see the Chain Plasma Rifle in his discard.
Yeah.
So
Kayden will activate Djoln and will draw 2, discard 2, maybe. Maybe he's not. We'll see in a moment. There we go. Okay. Djoln will draw 2 and discard 2. Feel like this isn't a Search the Wastes game state. And Templar Armaments. Okay, Templar Armaments will be the first discard. And Search the Wastes.
yeah,
Okay.
that makes sense. He did it once. He filled his discard so that his Ignis Fatuous will hopefully be on, but he doesn't have an Ignis Fatuous.
Yep.
And the game does not look like it's going to last long enough that he's going to get a whole lot of opportunities to try and find one.
Yep. Frag Grenade will be the play for Steven here. That's probably what he picked up.
That would make sense.
Yep. Off the discard, off the landslide. And then he will roll big pile of dice. He'll get a Modify 2 off the Battle Ready. Probably turning his dice into 4 damage.
Yeah, and that was not a tremendous roll. The Sabotage, of course, is going to be helpful because if Steven gets to activate Rylo again this game, the odds that Steven wins the game are tremendously high.
Yeah.
And Sabotage and Shield will help you get there.
So one of those Modify will make damage. And the other Modify will make damage. Yep. So 8, I think there's a 1 mental in the back there somewhere.
And I think there's a Modify back there as well.
Yeah, okay.
So that looks like 11, which is not lethal.
No, it's not. Still a good chunk. Kayden on the other side needs to figure out how to defeat Rylo.
And he did opt to shield Djoln, which means he can't just modify 2 into 4 more damage.
Sure. And he's probably not making more dice. He's probably using his gems on Crackle.
And modify into damage, resolve 7 damage. Crackle does make 10 and does defeat Rylo, but there's no way that gets through that Sabotage.
No, I agree. So Kayden will resolve damage here, taking Rylo to 7. And Steven on the other side, like you said, I'd be surprised if he isn't either modifying out of that Sabotage or using it right now.
Yeah, if you don't use it now, you might not get a good opportunity. You probably get one more opportunity.
Yeah.
The other thing I'm really curious about is Steven going to tactical reroll to try and win the game this round?
Sure.
I feel like you don't need to, but you can. The chances, you have a reasonable chance of winning the game this round if you play that way.
Yeah, he's got 3 cards in hand. It looks like he will tactical reroll out of that Sabotage and roll 1 more damage and a shield. So that shield matters a lot. That shield might very well be the thing that keeps Rylo alive.
Yeah, and now Steven's not resolving the Sabotage works out poorly for him if Kayden has a Change the Tide. But I don't think Kayden does have a Change the Tide.
I don't think so either. So Kayden is eyeing that Modify 2, turning the red dice to 2 damage, which doesn't play well into that shield that Steven rolled.
Yeah, and Kayden has a Witchfire in his hand, but if he plays it, then he's not playing the Crackle.
Yeah.
So I think Kayden just has no line that is strong against that shield.
I suppose if... So Kayden's just going to deal 2 damage.
Or I suppose tactical reroll
Yep, tactical reroll could do it. And also, if Kayden plays Witchfire, deals damage, and then at the start of next round plays Crackle, that's kind of okay.
That's true. It does make the 14-point climb against EM-Urgent next round taller, because you have 5 gems to do it, not 8.
Yeah, that's true. Steven dealt 2 damage to Djoln, and Kayden will modify into damage, and Steven knows how these numbers work out, so he's going to shield right now, using those Lego shields. So,
and then Kayden did opt to spend the 2 to remove the shield on Rylo, rather than Witchfire deal the 2, so that he can do the Crackle now, but he doesn't have the Crackle in hand. So he doesn't have the first turn kill Rylo.
Wow. Yeah.
As far as we're aware, right? He can draw more cards. That could still be how the next round goes.
But Steven gets to dig in on Rylo.
Oh, man.
Yep. So Kayden is at 2 health unshielded. Rylo is at 2 health shielded. And there's also some other guy, EM-Urgent or whatever. But we're paying attention to Rylo right now.
So EM-Urgent is a mercenary. If Kayden pays him to switch sides, then...
That's a good point.
Yeah, But mercenaries love a winner.
And they like winning.
Yeah.
I guess we'll see whether or not Kayden bribes EM-Urgent well enough.
I've gotta say, Steven has done, he rolled well, he got out to an early lead, but he's done a remarkable job of cutting off little lines that Kayden could follow to try to come back.
Oh, interesting.
Shielding the battle ready, giving up some dice in order to dig in on the Rylo. It's been good. It's been tight play.
It really has. That's a good point. Steve's going to play a Chain Plasma Rifle to start off this round, activating EM-Urgent using his ability, rolling 4 damage, and modifying 2 off of Battle Ready.
And so he is going to present lethal 3 times, and he's going to be presenting the ability to defeat 2 shields.
Yeah.
Kayden probably still starts by activating Rumble and forcing... Oh, has Steven not modified?
Steven hasn't modified yet. I don't know what he's planning exactly, but...
He's looking intently at Kayden's deck list. He's trying to figure out what he needs to play around.
Yeah. Probably wondering if protection of belief matters or something.
Yeah, trying to figure out if he should be splitting physical and mental.
Yeah. So there's 1 modify and 2 modifies. That's just a gigantic pile of damage. And in these scenarios, we're talking about number of ways to take off shields, which is a little bit more important, right? That shield on the Rumble of the Grotto is good, but it only trades with 1 black dice. So now Kayden needs any other source of shield or 4 sabotage.
A diplomatic meeting could potentially turn a bunch of 2s into blanks.
Kayden's going to start by witch-firing Rylo, and is then going to... Haunting Winds Rylo.
Yeah, all right. So that's the...
Rylo goes down.
You got me, but I did get one of your... It is important.
Yes.
It is halfway to Kayden's win condition.
Yeah.
But Steven resolves his 2. Djoln is defeated.
And that's that. All right. So, congratulations, Steven. You are moving on to the round of 8. Thank you for playing Kayden. You are eliminated from the MPL.
Yeah, thank you so much for playing Kayden. Kayden picked up Manifold just a couple weeks before the MPL started.
Right.
And he hit it really hard. He did quite a bit of studying. He built his own deck. A lot of the newer players were copying decks from other lists, from other players. But Kayden was here, entirely from his own mind palace, and he made it to the round of 16. So really excellent job. Thank you so much for coming. And oh boy, Steven is still alive. We know that Noble was defeated.
Yep.
So that makes Steven the front runner to win this tournament.
Yep, and that's a wrap for Group 3.
Yes.
So that's Steven and
Jordan.
Jordan are the people going on from Group 3.
Yep. Congratulations. And with our next video, we're going to be starting the last group of the round of 16.
Absolutely. We'll see you there.
Not me. I'm going to be playing.
Yes, Brad's in that group, so it'll be Ambrose and I.
Yep. But come watch me, guys.
Yep. Thanks for watching.